Hey everyone, so today we're going to get into something that we haven't really talked about in a while, and that is the overall fit you should look for in a pair of sunglasses or glasses or anything along those lines. So we're going to go through some different sizes and some different shapes and kind of see what the look and feel of all of that is. Because if they don't fit and they don't feel good, it really doesn't matter. Or does it only matter what they look like? I guess we'll take a look and figure it out. Now, on to what you're actually wanting to see in this video, rather than me blabbering about what should matter between fit and look and fashion and all that sort of thing, is to actually take a look at some different fits of glasses. Now, the one I'm wearing today, you guys have seen probably a few times by now, or if you're new to the channel, you haven't, you should definitely subscribe and like and all of that good stuff. But if you haven't, so this one, definitely my more neutral frame. I have that in much brighter colors. As far as sunglasses, this is the twin. So we have made this with some nice dark gradient lenses. So you've got that dark black at the top, fades so a little bit more clear at the bottom. Really cool color combo on this one. I can't see the screen anymore, but it's just a good fit for me. It's a really nice shape. I've got a little bit softer facial features, you know, kind of a round face, especially with the beard more filled out, and these things change over time, of course, from either shaving or losing weight or gaining weight or whatever. So, you know, over time it can change, but right now I've got a soft face, kind of oval, very easy to fit with more rectangular, more square shapes. And here's one a little bit different. So this guy is gonna be a little bit wider, a little bit edgier, has that flatter brow line across the top. Definitely more of a statement frame than even the purple and green, surprisingly. It can be a little bit different that way. Now, what I like about this one, it's definitely a very masculine frame. So it's got a very chunky look, very bold lines, which is nice. But you'll see one thing with both of these is the way they sit on the nose is very nice. It spreads that pressure out really well over the bridge. So immediately when I put that on, it just feels good. And that's true for both of these frames. They get a very similar cut to the nose pieces. And I'll show you kind of what I mean by that, is that angle there, instead of being just flat straight and back, it actually splays in and out a little bit, just like our nose does. It gets wider as it gets to the face, right? Or at least most of us, that's the case anyway. So what I wouldn't really recommend on a face like mine, where it's a little bit softer features, is a frame that's got softer features as well. So if we move over to the very stark, the classic round, in this case, the look John Lennon wore, perfect circles right over the bridge of the nose, very vintage, very trendy, very cool, very, very, very bad for me. As cool as I think this frame is, and as much as I love all of the detailing in it, it's got nice engraving all the way around the rim, down the temple, and of course on that bridge there. Great attention to detail and beautiful frame, but the frame's beautiful and I am not beautiful in it, so unfortunately that is a pass for me. It is cool, but it is not for me. Now, on the flip side of that, if you do have a lot more angular features or stronger face shape, a little bit more square, then you're gonna want something that is more square and or more soft like that, softer, rounder. It just complements the face better. And I know a lot of people get really, really lost on this thing about face shape and diamonds and hearts and triangles and upside down ovals and ovals. I don't even know. It's not really, you can do it that way, but just like fashion and everything else, there's rules to follow, and there's rules that are really meant to be broken. And I find that face shape one far often more meant to be broken than followed. An easier way to do it is what I'm talking about, where it is you go on the overall structure and features of the face. It's more angular with high, hard, harsh cheekbone lines, a really strong jawline, that sort of thing. You want a frame that is a little bit softer to offset and contrast those features. Now, as I mentioned, I have a softer face. This is a little bit softer shape, but it still has a little bit of structure and edginess to it. So this one is kind of in the middle. You know, this one can be worn pretty well on either sides of the spectrum, either a softer face or a more square face. You can get by with something like this. Just that classic, you know, I don't want to call this a Wayfarer shape, but it is pretty close. The real, let's get over to this guy, and this is going to be kind of that Wayfarer shape. This one's the AO Saratoga. Sure, more people are familiar with it these days because it has had a lot of hype recently. But you can see it's kind of those softer features, but it does have some structure out here at the edges, a little bit more flat across the bridge and the brow. It just adds some structure that kind of makes it work even for softer faces. Now for me, I like its brother, the Tournament, a little bit better. It's more square. It works better for me. That's universal. It can be worn by either, but to me, it's not really the best solution. Universal rarely is. Anybody can get by with it. It works, and it's simple and wearable, and you can do it every day. But we look for better than that. Now, speaking of edgy and a lot of structure and features, this is one I like in that regard as far as a pair of sunglasses that's just a little bit edgier. So this is one from Varney, and we haven't talked about them as much recently, but this is the 06. It is that classic as worn by James Bond. It's a little bit edgy. You've got much more structure out here at the edges. In my case, where I do have wide cheekbones, they're just not really hard lines. This frame flows nicely with that, and that's something you want to look for too. Kind of adding bits as we go along, you see. So if the frame trims out the overall face well, you want the widest part of the frame to be even with the widest part of your face, unless you're going super edgy for that really oversized trend and you want an entire statement piece. We'll grab one of those in a second so I can show you really over the top, bold, fun styling. Definitely fashion centric, but this is just a nice, easy to wear, everyday piece. Fits good on the face, and you can see, very easy to wear. Not too huge, not too small, not too feminine or masculine. I think both can easily wear this frame, whichever direction you lean. I'm not getting into that conversation, but on glasses, it's an interesting story. Because now you've got the clear lenses, you can see the frame a little bit better. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this gradient to clear. I used to always wear the partial rimless frame. So you had the rim across the top, no rim around the bottom, so you would think that I would love something like this. But getting back to the features, it's a much softer frame. It looks okay, and probably a lot of you think this looks really good. And that's okay too, because we all have different tastes. I know this is a nice looking frame, but I know it's not really ideal. It doesn't give me as much oomph as it could, and this guy does that a little bit better. Not necessarily in the clear frame, but that's why I'm using this one as kind of a demonstration, is even though the frame is mostly clear, you can still see it adds a little something from being really nice and square on the face. And just to really prove my point, I will grab its colorful little friend here, and we'll take a look at that. So you can see it's a little bit more bold. This color isn't quite right for me. It's fun, but that's a whole other side of it. You can do fun. I wear lime green most of the time, and this is okay. But you can see more here what I'm talking about. The overall width is really close in line with the widest part of my face, and it's just nice. It works. It's cool. To contrast that, we've got the very round, soft shape, and that is the one. I have a few rounds I can wear. This one's not one of them. It doesn't really have much structure to the frame. There's not a lot of intricacy to it. There's not much detail or pop, and it is a darker blue like I would normally wear, but there's just not much going on. It's not really flattering for me. Now, about those wild sunglasses, right? We wanted to see something much more over the top, a total statement piece, and really able to talk about something that's much more over the top. So this definitely fits that category. Very exotic frames, very over the top, very in your face, very flashy, and of course very big and oversized. You can even see my cheeks through the lenses. So it is much larger than my face. Even at this angle, we can tell sizing isn't great, but damn it, it looks cool. You know, frames like this aren't for everyone, and it took me a while to get into this kind of stuff. This is more that high fashion, edgy couture, where you really pay attention to the craftsmanship, the detail, and the beauty of the piece itself. This one, I love it. They're cool to look at, they're fun, and they're cool to wear, and if you have the personality for it, I highly recommend having something like that hiding in your collection for those occasions when you want something that special that really goes above and beyond. Those are meant to break every single rule. Now you see I did grab the much more square one to begin with just because that is a good shape for me. It doesn't mean in something like this we really have to go quite that far. And to show that, let's get over to this guy. Now, I mentioned the softer shapes I don't much care for. This one's a little bit softer, but it adds a lot of structure across the brow, more edgy at the bottom, and with that cut on the bottom edge, it's gonna follow with the cheek lines a little bit better. And you'll see, you can still do this big oversized look, even in a shape that's not really that complimentary, and it can still look pretty cool. It definitely makes more of a statement than anything else I've put on. Even the gold frame, it's very flashy, very in your face. The angle's bad, there we go. So, yeah, there you go. If I could see myself in it from that far away, I'd probably tell you that looks good, but I can't, alas. So that is what I've got on that. Now, as far as colors, that is a whole other discussion. I've done a video on that before. I'll link a card up here to get in more to how to choose the proper color for a frame, at least as far as every day. As I mentioned earlier, you can really break a lot of these rules, and half the time the fun is breaking these rules, because who likes to follow all of the rules all of the time? I don't. I very rarely follow any of the rules. I make up my own as I go. That's why this video is here, because you like that I do things differently, or at least I hope that's why you're here. And if you found this video first, my apologies, friend. You don't know what you're in for, but there's a whole rabbit hole of videos and playlists that you should definitely check out. Those are going to talk more about the different lens technologies, all of the frame fits, different adjustments to get everything fitting and filling properly over the top, and making it your own to where it really feels at home on your face. That's what opticians are for, but sometimes I know in these weird ages you can't always get to an optician, or you can't find a good one. It happens, okay? People have off days. Sometimes it's all off days. I have bad days too. Anyways, if this video has helped you, or if there was anything else you would like to see me expand upon that we've talked about, any of the kind of basic concepts in this video that we need to dive more into, and trust me, I can always dive more into any of these concepts or any of these really cool glasses. It's just fun. Anyways, I'm gonna stop there. You guys have a good evening. I will catch you next time.